as if Blade wasn't in enough trouble already, now there's another report coming out that Bob Iger did not include Blade in a statement about Marvel and Disney's upcoming slate. Oh boy, we have just been through it with this movie, y'all, from directors dropping out to writers dropping out, actors dropping out. It has been a mess with Blade, and now you got a joke about it in Deadpool and Wolverine, even with Wesley Snipes' Blade saying he's the only Blade. So we've got some issues here, but let's take a look at this article and this statement and see the new update for Blade. All right, so this was published by comicbookmovie.com. Just last week, Marvel Studios adjusted its upcoming release schedule, with the company removing an untitled July 2026 from the slate. Surprisingly, Blade seems to have the most uncertainty surrounding it remain unchanged. Yeah, so the schedule last week that was released still had Blade on it. I mean, this account has all of the Marvel Studios stuff. It's got Agatha on September 18th. And then in 2025, we've got Cap 4, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and Blade still on that November 7th slate. However, says yet today, and I believe that was yesterday, in Disney's CEO Bob Iger's Q3 FY24 earnings statement, top exec pointed to a number of upcoming Marvel projects as a reason for investors to feel bullish about the company's upcoming fiscal performance. Let's read this bold. Okay, so a joint statement from Iger and Disney Chief Financial Officer Hugh Johnston reads, looking at our upcoming theatrical slate, we're excited to bring audiences a number of titles that expand our popular franchises and bring these stories to life in imaginative new ways. Later in the year, we have the highly anticipated release of Moana 2 as well as Mufasa Lion King. So the statement continues, our theatrical slate remains just as robust, with Captain America, The Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, First Steps, Zootopia 2, and Avatar 3. 2026, we look forward to Avengers Doomsday, a new Star Wars movie, and Toy Story 5. Yeesh. So yeah, you know, I got some thoughts here. My first thought is that maybe, just maybe, Bob Iger is just naming off the top of his head the biggest projects that he feels are going to be the most successful, which it's worrying to not have Blade on that list, because after seeing Wesley Snipes back in Blade recently and how many people loved that announcement, it seems like they'd be pushing for Blade, right? Well, he also mentions every single Marvel project except for Blade. So I completely understand why people and fans will be worried, because there's no mention of Blade, but every other Marvel project in 2025 and 2026 is mentioned. So it's a little concerning for sure that Bob Iger's not even addressing Blade, but it's still on the release schedule. I find that super odd as well. I think that's definitely really weird that there's not even a mention here. I want to go over to the Screen Rant article that explains the development hell of Blade, and we can pretty much tack this on there, but every little article entry takes us through a timeline. So Blade was announced at Comic-Con 2019. Then you had a writer sign on in 2021. Of course, the pandemic slowed some things down. They maybe just didn't have that team formed out yet. So took a little while, but they found a writer and director in 2021. First one was O.C. Kofer, who's known for her work on Watchmen and Pen 15. Really good shows. So they had a team already with Basim Tariq, who joined as director in July. Now, Blade makes his first appearance in the MCU. Y'all remember the post-credit for Eternals? We had Dane Whitman actually pick up or see the Ebony Blade, and he hears a voice, and it's Blade. And they confirmed that it was Mahershala Ali. So his very first appearance in the MCU without being on screen. Now we've got a 2022 filming plans are delayed. The first director leaves the project. So you had that first director leave the project. Writers have left the project too. Then Blade signs a second director and a new writer in late 2022. After that, changes were made to the cast and script in 2023. It was affected by the strikes. That's holding a lot of people's schedules back. Then it says Blade is pushed back to 2025. That also happened in 2023. And then Blade's second director leaves the project in 2024. So from 2019 to 2024, there's been a slew of writers 2 directors, several cast members, key cast members. I mean, remember, they had Delroy Lindo in this thing, and he's gone now. Several key cast members are gone. Blade has been through the absolute ringer, and it sucks to hear that and see that, because man, this is such a keystone character in starting the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it. I mean, not saying Blade was the first movie to set the MCU like Iron Man was, but that was the first, as y'all know, big Marvel in theaters movie, like first big theatrical release that was successful for them. So it really helped catapult Marvel into more cinematic films, of course, bringing the birth of the MCU in 2008 with Iron Man. So, man, this is just so disappointing that a character that means so much for Marvel and its franchise and what Marvel on the big screen means hasn't had his movie done yet. It's very disappointing. It's very frustrating. Mahershala Ali, I'm sure, is very frustrated. This Oscar award-winning actor deserves more than this. Come on, man. Like, this man is putting up Oscar-worthy performances so often, and now we're delaying Blade. Directors are having issues, writers are having issues. It's such an unfortunate issue, just like Shang-Chi 2, but even worse, we haven't even seen this guy on screen. So it's very unfortunate that Blade is continuing to go through development hell, continuing to not really have any answers. There's no concrete answer as to when it's gonna come out. They still have it on the slate, but at the same time, with all this director mumbo jumbo, all this trouble of people leaving, how are they going to get it out on time? So I'm just waiting for the headline to come across. Either Mahershala Ali leaves or they just cancel altogether. Mahershala has been very vocal about trying to keep this thing going, but I don't know, guys. It's not looking good for Blade. It's not looking good for this character in the next phase of the MCU to enter in, especially after you bring in that legacy actor who now has had people reattached to that version of Blade. It's going to be rough for Marvel to get this one out there, and I know Kevin Feige in an interview said that they just want to get it right, but I don't know. Is it really that hard to get Blade right? But hey, I digress. I don't work professionally in film, so I get it. It's tough. But I don't know. I feel like a Blade versus vampire story isn't too much. But y'all gotta let me know your thoughts down in the comments. As always, sound off down below and let me know how you feel about this. Do you think Blade is just on the fast train to being canceled? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And hey, if you're new to the channel, this is Geekly Goods, where we drop videos on the latest in movies, TV, Marvel, and DC. We drop at least one a day here on the channel. So come on back and we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.